Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where as I started the webcam I realised I got the wrong glasses on. That is not going to help me to solve if I can't see the puzzle. Today we're going to be taking a look at this arresting looking grid. It's called Prison Break, so it is indeed arresting, and it's by Myxo. Now, I've done Myxo puzzles before on the channel, and they're always brilliant and quite hard. And I've checked on Logic Masters Germany. This has 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, a whopping 99% approval rating, and some absolutely fantastic comments. Now, this has been recommended to us and requested. Now that's always a worry, because when people request it normally means they devoted hours of effort and not being able to solve it. So I hope I will be able to shed some light on this one, and what on earth is going on in this mesh shape in the middle of the grid. We will see today whether we are the Michael Schofields of Prison Break, or the who was it, Teabag. Teabag was the villain, wasn't he? I think we don't want to be Teabag. Theodore Bagwell. We're not him today. We're going to be Michael Schofield. Yes, indeed. I used to enjoy that show. I don't know what happened. No. Actually, I'll give spoilers away if I reveal what I think happened, and I turn out to be right or wrong. It's probably not a good thing. What else can I tell you about before we get to the rules? I've got a birthday to do today. Why don't we start with that? Charlie, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your partner May wrote to us, and apparently we cover all bases in your household because Charlie likes the Sudoku and May likes the crosswords. So that's good to hear, and I hope that today, Charlie, your day is filled with Sudoku and chocolate cake with the correct ricing. The correct ricing? My brain is missing out words and sort of portmanteauing them. With the correct ratio of icing to cake, of course. Actually, thinking about crosswords for May, though, we should talk about crosswords for July, because over on Patreon there is a new crossword solved by Mark of this month. I think actually it was last month's Times Club Monthly Special, which is an absolute beast of a puzzle. All I will say is that is an absolutely remarkable solve in a sort of sickening way. So if you are a patron of the channel and you enjoy our crossword content, you should watch that, because in my opinion it's one of the greatest feats of crossword solving I've ever seen. Although I will say that today I did beat Mark on today's Times, much to his chagrin. No, but I'm not claiming in any way equivalence to the great man. In crosswords, you should definitely watch that video. It's fantastic. Then what else have we got going on over on Patreon? We do have, of course, the Kraken The Cryptic Sudoku hunt. Loads of you have been having a go at that. We've been delighted to get the feedback. So if you haven't had a go, do have a go. You've still got 9 more days before the competition closes. And for those of you who own any of our apps, firstly, well done. They are cool. They're all full of handcrafted puzzles, but the Domino app is going to be updated soon with a batch of new puzzles. So look out for, if you own the Domino app, keep an eye on that. It should have new puzzles any moment now. But now let's have a look at Prison Break. Can't remember how the music went to the show Prison Break, but let's see what Myxo's got in store for us. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. The digits in each cage do not repeat, and sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage if given. So, okay, so those 3 digits sum to 10. Obviously, they couldn't contain a repeated digit. This cage is a very annoying cage, actually, because that doesn't have a total. So I think that this cage is only in the puzzle to tell us that this digit is not repeated here. So I'm guessing we don't start the solve there. Probably not here either. So yeah, it's normal killer Sudoku rules. And then on a grey line, now these grey lines are weird. On a grey line, the digits sum to the same total as the 2 circles connected to the line. So these are double arrow rules, which means that if we take a look at this configuration, oh, sorry, yeah, I should actually read the end of the rules. All double arrows in the grid are straight lines. They do not turn at intersections. So it's not possible that this line, actually, let's use the line tool. Can I do that? Yes. This line is not doing that, is what we're being told. The line coming down here just continues straight into the circle diagonally opposite it, so to speak. And then these two digits, let's put some numbers in. Let's make them 5 and 6. 5 and 6 add up to 11. So these circles now have to add up to 11. So we could do something like that, I think. I think that is what the rules are telling us. That is how I understand them. If we get down to the nitty-gritty and this doesn't seem to be working, then we will have another think to ourselves. But do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I mean, this grid, if ever a grid, screamed Pfister-Maffell's theorem at me. This is that grid. Now, yeah, okay, I think there is something going on here. 24, 80. Okay, I don't understand this yet, but there's certainly... Okay, I'm going to try and articulate my thought process here, but I'm not... I can do a good job of articulating the thought process, but I'm not going to be able to tell you why my thought process is wrong. But, okay, let me start. So the Pfister-Maffell theorem, which I will prove, because I think it is going to be necessary for the solve, is that these 16 cells, this green ring of 16 cells, contain exactly the same digits as those corner 2x2s, those 16 cells in blue. Now, I'll prove the theorem in a moment, but my thinking on that, I then added up these cages, and I got 80. Let me just do that again. I was expecting to get 90 because of the secret. 46. No, I still get 80. So, why was I thinking I was going to get 90? I'll tell you that, and that's because of a secret I only tell my favourite people. So I'm putting together all sorts of things here. But the secret, which I am going to share with you, just don't let it lead on, okay? It is a secret. The secret is any complete row, any complete column, any complete box of a Sudoku contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. And therefore, I know the sum of any complete row, complete column or complete box, because the numbers 1 to 9 sum to 45. So I know that this box sums to 45, but it looks like there's a cross in every cell in this box, which implies to me at least that each digit in this box appears on 2 or contributes to 2 circles. So I was expecting the green cells to add up to 90, 2 lots of 45. But they only add up to 80, and I don't understand why yet. But this is clearly relevant to the puzzle. So let's prove Pfister-Maffell before we go any further. So, have I got my scrap? I have got my Scrabble bags, actually. I have got them. Let me just grab some, put the tiles back in the bags. So I'm going to prove Pfister-Maffell's theorem using my bags. They're not tea bags, though. These are Schofield bags. So, how do we prove it? Well, what we need to do is I'm going to highlight some cells in this grid. I am going to highlight those cells. Now, I have no clue at this juncture. Maverick's just taken off. I have no clue at this juncture what the disposition of digits is within green, but I can tell you very precisely what digits appear in green in total. Because if we study green for a moment, you can see it includes the whole of row 3, the whole of row 7, the whole of box 4, and the whole of box 6. Well, each of those units of Sudoku contains the digits 1 to 9 once each, doesn't it? There's going to be the digits 1 to 9 in this row, the digits 1 to 9 in this row, and the digits 1 to 9 in each of these boxes. So green overall contains 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Another way of saying that would be to say there's going to be 4 digit 1s, 4 digit 2s, 4 digit 3s, all the way through to 4 digit 9s in green. Now, oh, actually I should have used a different colour. Let's use orange, because that's the colour of my bag. So, this bag, I'm going to show you, contains Scrabble tiles. There's a 6. Let's find another one. That's another 6. That's unfortunate. That's a 2. Hopefully you can see that. So I want you to imagine, you can hear there's lots of Scrabble tiles in there. Imagine that this Scrabble bag is filled with 36 Scrabble tiles, 4 of which contain a digit 1, 4 contain a digit 2, 4 all the way through to 4 containing a digit 9. So that's this bag of tiles. Now, I've got another bag of tiles here. What am I going to fill this with? Well, I'm going to fill this with a different set of 36 tiles, being those tiles. Now, again, I can describe exactly what digits are in these blue cells, because this is a complete column of the Sudoku, so that's 4 complete columns of the Sudoku. So the blue tiles are going to be identical to the orange tiles, because there's going to be 4 digit 1s in blue, 4 digit 2s, 4 digit 3s, all the way through to 4 digit 9s. And I'm going to imagine that we filled this bag with those tiles. So at the moment, we can say that our blue and orange bags contain the exact same sets of tiles. There are 36 in each, and 4 digit 1s in both, 4 digit 2s in both, etc, etc. Now, I want to imagine that we find the tile in each bag that corresponds to this cell. We don't need to know what's in this cell. I'm just going to identify whatever tile is equivalent to this cell, and I'm going to take it out of both bags. So whatever's in it, I don't know whether it's the digits 1 to 9, but it corresponds to this cell in the Sudoku. I'm going to take it out of both bags. What do my bags now contain? Well, I no longer can say exactly the composition of digits in each bag, because I don't know what this digit is I've just taken out. I've just taken out the tile that corresponds to this cell. But I can tell you that the 35 tiles left in this bag and the 35 tiles left in this bag are still the same, aren't they? Because I've taken this, they were the same before I took anything out of either, and I've taken the same digit out of both, in effect, because this tile, whatever was on it, is going to have the same digit in it in both bags. And I can do that for all of these cells and all of these cells. So I'm just going to take those tiles out of both bags. So at this point, I've reached a point where I've only got 16 tiles left in orange and 16 tiles left in blue. But whatever's left must be the same digits, because it was the same digits at the start, and whenever I took a tile out, I took it out of both bags. And that is the proof of the Fistum-Feld theorem. When I first learnt of the Fistum-Feld theorem, it blew my mind. I hope for some of you I have blown your minds. If I have blown your mind, drop a comment in to let me know. It's always nice to hear when people discover Fistum-Feld for the first time. Right, but so this was what was allowing me to know the total of these circles immediately at the start of the puzzle. I knew to get the total of these circles, all I had to do was add up the 2x2s in the corner, because obviously as these blue cells are the same digits as appear in the orange ring, the sum of each must be the same, mustn't it? I'm just going to do the maths one more time. I've done it twice now. 34, 58. I'm doing it even slower each time. It is still 80. It's definitely 80. It's not 90. So there is some reason why I'm being really dumb here. There's clearly a reason. I can't get my head around it, because it does seem totally obvious that each of these cells has a cross in it, which implies that it's on two. Each digit in the middle box is contributing to 2 circles, not just 1 circle. So if it's contributing to 2 circles, why are the circles not adding up to 2 lots of the secret? Is it because this one? Is it because these have 2? Is it because those have 2 lines going out of them. So whatever digit, let's just put a digit in there. If that's an 8, it's contributing to these two circles, and it's contributing to these two circles. But then this digit, let's make that a 7. This digit okay, yes. So this digit, it doesn't increase the count. Right, that's weird. Okay. Okay, I know how I can show you this. Right, I know how to do this, I think. So what I've been grappling with is, why is there a discrepancy between 80 and 90? That's what the title of this video. If the title of this video isn't Prison Break, I'm going to say, I think I'm going to call it why is 80 not equal to 90? Because I think I'm starting to understand why. Let me show you. I think we've got to basically draw lines between these. Let's draw lines between. Yes, and if I do longer lines, it will be very clear. So I'm going to draw lines between. Now, I'm going to continue drawing lines. Right. Let's stop there. Let's stop there and have a think about what we've just delineated. Yeah. Okay. So, I think each circle has one line going into it there. That seems to be true, doesn't it? In other words, these lines that we've drawn into the central box, into these cells, must sum to the same as the orange cells, which we know is 80 by the Fistemefeld theorem. So at the moment, these sum to 80. This collection of coloured lines. Now you can see I've deliberately missed out 2 coloured lines. I missed out this one, as Maverick does another fly past, and I missed out this one. Now, by including this connection here, I'm not increasing the value of the circles around the edge. You can see that, because the circles, you know, the circles are whatever they are. But by drawing that line into the puzzle, what Myxo has done is he's created a difference between the orange cells and the number 90, which is double the central, or double the central box, because those two lines don't increase the value of orange, but they do add an extra. They add this digit and this digit they add those 2 digits, that they are the difference, that they explain the difference between the value of the orange squares being 80 and twice the value of the middle box, because they provide this intersection and this intersection. These 2 numbers have to add up to 10, is what I'm saying, because we know that double the value of everything in the middle box would be 90, But this mesh that I've drawn is not double the value of all of the cells in the middle box, because I haven't achieved a cross here and I haven't achieved a cross here, and that's what's providing the difference. Now the next thought I'm having here, so we now know that these two digits add up to 10, but of course I could have drawn this slightly differently. Let's remove a red and replace and draw another blue instead. I'm going to have to withdraw that one as well. And now, if we stare at the grid, I've got exactly the same pattern. Again, I have got one line end going into each circle. So these circles we know add up to 80. We know double every digit in the middle box would give us 90, but we haven't achieved this. We haven't included that crossing, and we haven't included that crossing. So these two digits must also add up to 10. Now, so right, okay, so I now know that the opposite pairs in the middle box, those two digits, and we'll say these two digits, add up to 10. And they, depending on how you draw your mesh, they account for the difference between the Fistmafell rings total and double the value of the middle box. This is already fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. So these digits add up to 20 overall. So the rest of the middle box, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have to get rid of some of these lines. They're too confusing to keep in there. And indeed, they are there underneath the values, or underneath the coloured lines I've already drawn. So the opposite totals, right? Oh no. Right, okay, well the corollary of these square, or double green being these two cells adding up to 10 and these two cells adding up to 10, is that those digits, these digits also add up to 10, don't they? That's weird, and they do it in sort of two ways. So if you think about the red, what is the red total? Whatever this red number is, let's make it an 8. If this is an 8, those two cells add up to 8. But because these two cells add up to 10, this would be a 2, and these two cells would have to add up to 2. So you can see that these four cells here, let's make those purple. Maybe we get rid of the Fisto ring now, actually. So these four cells add up to 10, just as these pairs add up to 10. And they also, of course, add up to 10 the other way. So I want these to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple now. But even as I put in a 2 there, I was thinking these could be double 1, couldn't they? No. Oh, hang on. Oh. No, this doesn't. Oh, that's weird. No, okay. Right, good grief. Okay, I can now prove, I think, I'm not sure about this, but I think I can prove that the purple cells are 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can't see how to do that, pause the video and have a think for yourself about it, because I think it's legitimate to say that if there's a repeated digit in purple, if purple has a repeated digit, I feel like the two cells on the opposite diagonal are going to sum to a number that's divisible by 3. Why do I say that? Well, let me show you. So let's say this digit's a 3. And let's say it repeats somewhere in purple. So let's repeat it there. It doesn't matter. The principle's going to be the same. Now we have to ask. We now know that this square here needs to be a 6, don't we? Because it's going to be double the circle total. And we have to put 3 somewhere in the middle box. Now, the problem we've got here, there are a lot of problems. Because we can't put 3 into either of these squares. That's very clear, because if you do, you're going to have to put 0 into the grid. So 3 is not in green, which means 3 is there, but we've got a paradox here. Because what we've got is a situation where, obviously, on the face of it, these numbers don't add up to 10. But the point is that this number is always 2 times whatever the repeated number is. So these 2 digits together are always 3 times whatever the repeated number is. And 3 times any number, or any Sudoku number, or indeed any integer I can think of, is not equal to 10. So 10 is not divisible by 3 exactly. And therefore, you can't have a repeated digit in purple. And if you can't have a repeated digit in purple, these are a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. And that means what does that mean? I am not sure yet, but I'm sure that we got to be. Well, the only thought I'm having now is that I can't because the opposite pairs add up to 10. None of these digits can be 5, which means that the 2 digits that we're adding up, say here, can't be a 1-4 pair or a 2-3 pair, or it will get 5 here, and that's going to require 5 there, and that's going to break Sudoku. So if this was right, so the 5 pairs that exist, that are sort of inherent in a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple, you can think of it as a 1-4 pair and a 2-3 pair. They're going to have to be opposite each other in the grid, aren't they? So let's just imagine that was a 1 for a moment. If that's a 1, that's a 4, and this is going to be a 2-3 pair. But this is brilliant. This is really brilliant, because now I know what the corner digits are, I think. This is absolutely spectacular, because if 1 is always next to a 2-3 pair, which it is, I just don't know where the 1 goes around here, then imagine that was 2. That's going to put a 3 here. And then this is going to be 3. That's going to put a 4 here. So 3 and 4 go on one side of the grid. Let's just imagine it was 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. We're going to have a 3 or a 4 next to the 1. But on the other side, we now know we should get a 7 and a 6, because we know the opposite pairs add up to 10. And that's confirmed because you'd have a 2-4 pair and a 3-4 pair, which would give you the 7 and the 6. So I now know, I don't know the ordering of this, so we're going to have to be very careful here. But I do know that the corner digits in the middle box are 3, 4, 6 and 7 in some order. Which means that there's loads of things this does. This is another of these puzzles. I say another. I mean, they don't come along very often. Maybe twice a month, where you just think, how has someone come up with something such utter genius? It is utter genius. It's such an arresting pattern, and yet it's got all of this absolutely beautiful geometry in it. Because now I feel I think I know what the central digit of the puzzle is. Because this digit sees a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple and a 6 and a 7. So its only options are 5, 8 and 9. But bearing in mind that the 2 opposite corners add up to 10 in each case, this can't be 8 or 9, because if it's 8, then these squares have to add up to 18. There's only one Sudoku way of doing that, but these two will as well, because these add up to 10, so that's 18. So you get 4 9s in the corners of the Vistamafel ring, and that's not going to work, and it's clearly not going to work if we up this to 9. It's just impossible to make these totals work at all. So that is a 5 in the middle of the grid, which is so often the case, actually, in these variant puzzles. In the oh, there's a knock at the door. I'm not sure whether that's going to be, I think, some sort of postman. Do I have to go and see whether that is? I don't really want to. I probably should, shouldn't I? Alright, I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry, it was the postman. And no, I didn't need to go down, but I've just run down the stairs and then run up them again, so that will do me no good at all. But what were we thinking about? We were having absolutely wonderful fun thinking about the middle box, weren't we? And I know that the opposite thingies add up to 5. So if this is 1 4, 1 will go in one of those two squares. Right. So this 10 cage is under pressure, I think. Yeah, okay, let's think about this. Again, I'm just going to make this 1 for a moment. Now, if that's 1 and that's 4, we know that this is a 2 3 pair. But what I can see is in the middle box, the 2 is going to be in one of those two squares, isn't it? And the 1 is going to be in one of those two squares. So what that's telling me is that wherever I position the 1s, 2s, 3s and 4s around this around the purple cross here, I'm always going to have within this cross 1 2 pairs on each limb of the cross. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but that is true if you think about it. Because imagine this was 1 4, then this is 2 3. 1 in the central box will be in one of these squares, so 1 and 2 are on that limb. And similarly, the 2 is going to be in one of those squares, so 1 and 2 are on that limb. So it doesn't matter where you put the 1 and the 2, because they can't be opposite each other, they end up in sort of a 5-cell sequence in both of these dimensions, the horizontal and vertical, so in row 5 and column 5. And that means these squares can't include 1 and 2. Now, that means they're not 3 4, because that would accompany that with a 3. So they are at least, I want to say they're at least 3 6, but that seems too optimistic to me. I'm just going to think about that. If you can't put 1 2 in here, and you can't put 5, and I can't put 3 and 4 in here, because this would force this to be a 3, and there would be 2 3s in the box, so it can't be 3 4. Well, it must... Yeah, okay, it must include a 3, because otherwise this is a 4-6 pair minimum, and that would be a 0. So it does include 3, and so it must be 3-6. Oh, that's weird. Okay, that's 3-6. That's going to give us our second digit in the puzzle. That's now a 1. So this is not a 1 after all, which means that's not a 4, because we know these two add up to 5. 3. Oh, no, this is much better. 3 is in these squares. 3 is in this square. So this is... this can't be the 2-3 pinion, can it? It's got to be the 4-1. And therefore that's got to be 4. That's got to be 1. Now that means that these are a 2-3 pair. It means 2 is in one of those squares. It means 1 is in one of these squares. Okay. That domino is now under serious pressure because that cannot be 1, 2 or 3. So that has to be 4-6 because it can't include 5, and that's 4-6, and this is also a 1. It's so brilliant, this is. It's so brilliant. I can write 1 in there. 4-cell 13 cage has got to have a 1 in it because 2, 3, 4 and 5 add up to 14, I've learnt over the years. Now, what does this mean? I don't know, but I'm quite excited about this. This 15, these two squares and these two squares have to add up to 15 because of the 5 in the middle. Now, does that mean these have to be... That's 7. Oh, yeah, this is beautiful. This is just another absolutely beautiful piece of magic. I now know that those squares are 6, 7, 8 and 9, and they are all different, believe it or not. How on earth, you might say, do I know this? Well, I was just thinking, imagine that's an 8. If that's an 8, what's this? Well, given these add up to 15, if this is 8, that's got to be 7, but this is going to make an 8-7 pair that sees that square, and it sees that square. The 8 and the 7 there mean this cannot be 8 or 7, and this cannot be 8 or 7. So this has to be the opposite of 8 and 7, which is going to be the 6, 9, isn't it? There's only 2 ways of making 15 using different Sudoku digits. Whoa! Oh, that was a bee that just flew in. A very large bee. This is a very eventful video. Okay, it's flown out again, so I don't think I have to worry about it. So these are all different digits. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These squares are from 7, 8 and 9 because there is effectively a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sextuplet within those 7 cells. And the same is true, exactly the same here. Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on symmetry here. There's a lot of symmetry about how this works. Oh, hang on. If that's a 4, I now know what these digits are, of course, don't I? We can't put 3 and 4 in here because that's going to require these to be 0 and -1. So these are 2 and 3. These cells are now 3 and 4. We would very much like to know the order. That would be really helpful. 1 is not there, is it? So 1 comes in the middle box here. That means one of these diagonals is very tiny. Because there's a 2 in one of those squares. So imagine there was a 2 here. Then this diagonal, these 2 squares, have to add up to 3, which means they would have to be a 2 and a 1. Oh, see, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Okay, whichever one of these is a 2. Let me just show you. It can't be this one. If this is a 2, now these add up to 3, so these add up to 3. They can't be 3 and 0, so they've got to be a 1-2 pair, which means this square here has to be a 2, and this square here has to be a 1, and it can't be, because there's lots of ones looking at it. So we can't make this 2. This is not 2. This is 2. And now this is 2, and that's 1. I'm sure this does something. We just have to work out what. Well, now, right, now I've got an 8-9 pair in the middle box, and that's a bit suspicious, isn't it? Because that means these two squares have to add up to 17. So they're an 8-9 pair. I'd love to be able to colour these. That would be very cool. We've almost got all sorts of stuff going on here. Let me just mull this over for a minute. This means that... okay, I can do this. Right, I'm going to look at that digit for a moment. Where does that digit go in box 4? And the answer is there. So in fact, I am going to colour those in. These two digits have to be the same. So that's an 8 or a 9. But that means, where's 7 in this box? And the answer is down here somewhere. So because there's a 7 down there, we're looking at this square, making this a 6. And that's going to do some magic, I think, because now that's got to be a 2, because 4 and 6 add up. Sorry, 4 and 2 add up to 6. This is a 7, so that's got to be a 3. This is a 4 by mathematics. This is a 3 by mathematics. Everything across the diagonal is working. This is either a 10 or an 11. Do we know which? I don't know if I do. Okay, I can do colouring. Oh yeah, look, this being yellow, making that yellow, tells me that this is yellow in the middle box. Now, these two are different, so we can colour these two in. These have to be the same flavour of 8 and 9. Now look at... Oh, yes. Now, yellow and green, see that square? So this is not 8 or 9, but we know that diagonals here add up to 15, so we know this is 8 or 9, because you always need an 8 or a 9 and a 15 pair. Now all I need to do is somehow relate this to green or yellow, and that would be jolly exciting. Yes, and I know you. Yes, I know you might not want to speak to me at parties. Green, yes, alright, green is down here somewhere, which means yellow is in this little domino, doesn't it? Because if green's here, it's 8 or 9, so there's sort of a virtual 7, 8, 9 triple in these squares. So the other of 8 and 9 that isn't green must be here. Now that seems to mean that that square's become yellow, which means that we now know the composition of these digits, and we can write in here 2, 5 and 7, but we know that this is adding up to 10 or 11. Now, does that mean that we can't do... not quite, actually. I was wondering, if this is 2, the implication of that from a maths perspective is that this is green, but that looks possible, actually. That would make this have to be a 6 or a 7, and this have to be an 8 or a 9, which would make this green. Okay, I'm not sure. What do we do now? 6. 6 in this bottom box by Sudoku has to be down here. So this is a 6, 8, 9. This is from 6, 8, 9. Oh, look, now I could have got that a different way. Okay, this isn't going to help us, I don't think. It's going to mean these squares are 3, 4, or 5. It's going to be something. There's going to be some trick we've got to do using the middle box and these cells around, these circle cells. I don't think we're a million miles... Oh, look, hang on. We can't put... nearly. I was just thinking you can't put 8 or 9 in a 13 cage. And that's because the minimum sum of 3 different Sudoku digits is 6 with 1, 2 and 3. So we know the maximum we could accompany those 6 with in the 13 cage is a 7. If we try and put 8 in, we're implying 3 different digits can add up to 5, which is a concept so ludicrous. We need a redebigulator to deal with it. Now, okay, how do we do this then? So yellow in this box is in one of 3 places, which is not exactly what we were hoping to do. Green in this box. Oh, this is right. Okay, sorry. This is how to. This was simple. Green in this box is not in the 13 cage. So green is here. And why do I get excited about that? You may well wonder. But that means that's yellow, because it can't be green now. It's got green looking at it. But if that's yellow now by Sudoku. So neither of these is yellow. And now this digit is not 8 or 9, because it's got both flavours of 8 or 9 looking at it. This is just magnificent. Now, this is 8 or 9, because those 2 squares add up to 15. So this square is 8 or 9, and it is not yellow, so that is green. This is a 6-7 pair, so that square is not 7 anymore. And now this square can't be 2. Because if this square is 2, if we look at the equational nature of the circles, these 2 squares would contain 2 plus something, this being the something, and these 2 squares, which have to equal that, are 2 plus green. So that implies this is green, which it cannot be. So this is 5. Oh no, I thought I got something good there, but I haven't. I was just literally, that was what I got. There's a 1 in one of these squares. Oh no, this could. I was suddenly thinking. I was thinking about a double 5 problem, but there isn't a double 5 problem. 2 and 8 would mean that this is a 5. But you can put the same digit in opposite circles here. So this is a 5 or a 6. Oh no! Oh, hang on, it's not 6. Wait a second. If this is 9, 11, this is right. Sorry, this is just fixed, because this can't be a 6, so it has to be a 5, and that means this is adding up to 10, which means green is 8 out of nowhere. Green is 8, so yellow is 9. Let's fill in all of those. So this is a 7-8 pair now, by the power of that old chestnut Sudoku. This is a 2-4 pair, I want to say. Let's fill that in. These squares don't include 9. This row is done. Now, can we do the... Yeah, we can. This has to add up to 15, so that's a 7, that's a 6. We've very nearly done this now. We've almost done the ring, haven't we? Can we do this? These add up to 10. So this isn't 4, because this would have to be a 6. So it's either double 5 again, or no, it's not 3-7, because this can't be 7. So this is double 5 again. Everything's getting tidied up as well. This is now... Well, yeah, okay, we can now just use the 15 gauge, because what's this digit? It can't be 1, so the minimum it is 2, which it has to be, because the minimum these can add up to is 13. So that's 6, that's 7, that's 9, that's 8. This column needs 3, 4, 7. That's quite interesting for that square. Right, hang on, let's actually put this in and think about it. That is not 7, because it would repeat within the funny triomino cage. This square's a 9, just by yellowification. Oh, sorry, 5. Okay, look, 5 has made an appearance in the 13 cage, which means we've now got 6's worth of digits. We need 7 more without using 1, 6 or 2, 5. So we need, this has got to be a 3, 4 pair with this. So this is 3, 4, 5. Which means these 2 squares are a 6, 8 pair. And we can come down to the bottom. This has got to be a 1, 3 pair. 3's are aligning, so this can't be a 3 anymore. Because if we put 3 here, once we put a 3 here, we're going to have a 3 in one of those and a 3 in one of those. And that's 3 3's in 2 rows of the grid, which will necessitate a repeated 3, which we shouldn't have. So there's definitely a 3 up here now. Oh, and we know that digit in theory. That's a 2. Let's put that in. These digits are a 1, 4 pair, which means this square is a 3, which means this square is a 7, which means this square is a 4, which means this is 4, the 3, well, this all gets filled in, which is quite exciting. And now this is a 3, 6 pair. We can probably use the secret on this box actually. We've got 13 and 21, well that's 34, so these add up to 11, and they're not 5, 6, they've got to be 4, 7, because they're not 2, 9, 5, 6 or 3, 8, so that's a 4, 7 pair, and the 7, 8 here prevents that from being a 7, so that's 4, that's 7, that's 8. Now these squares over here have got to be 3 and 6, so it's probably going to be this cage we're going to have to look at in a moment. Oh, yes, look, otherwise there would have been a deadly pattern as well. So, what are we saying here? If this is 6, we go too high, don't we? Yeah, 6 and 7 is 13, and this can't be a 1. So this has to be 3, this has to be 3, this has to be 6, this has to be 6. We need 2 digits here that add up to 11, so we can't use the 2. It's got to be 4, 7, 8, 2, 4, 1. And I'm hoping, oh, 7, 2 is done, look. Hopefully we can do 2, I can see, in row 2 of the grid. We just need 5, that's 8 in the corner. 8, 6, 6, 4. Oh, this is unbelievable. It actually is unwinding. It's unwinding, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 5, 9. 9 and 5 go into the grid. Now we can presumably just fill in the bottom of this, can we? Yep, 7, 1, and 9 and 5. Yep. Now we should just check the maths on this. That's right, that is adding up to 22. I'm just going to double check it. It's still adding up to 22, 16, 17, yes, good. So we now need 2 and 6 over here, which we can fill in. What are we heading up towards? 21, so we need 13, which is 5, 8, which this 8 is going to help with. So 8, 5. 5, 3, and that's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, proving its position. I think we've done the puzzle. Oh, that was that was a roller coaster of magnificence, and I don't even like roller coasters. They make me very poorly. Good grief, that is a brilliant puzzle. That is a brilliant puzzle. I don't know how you have these ideas, you constructors out there, but Myxo, take a bow. I am going to bow before you, because that was superb. That you can get that much logic from this funny lattice shape. I loved the fact as well, it was so confusing at the start. I couldn't understand it at all. And then once I eventually understood it, there's some, there's this beautiful ideas that these squares have to add up to 10 in total, and then they can't have a repeated digit. It's fascinating. It's so, even as I'm going over it in my mind now, having just solved it, it's sort of, it's bordering on the magical. It really is. It's the universe singing to us again. Myxo, I loved that. That was absolutely amazing. And we proved that we were Michael Schofield and not Theodore Bagwell. Very important. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.